thing the trial has revealed, especially in the end, was, I mean, the third car and really the fourth car in the Drinks video was arguably a defensive smoking gun. And did you guys see it that way going forward? I admittedly have not watched your opening statement since opening statements, but how much did those cars, were they mentioned in the opening statements?
So first of all, Mr. Botts was the first one. He's gonna yell at me if I don't say this. Mr. Botts was the first one. Mr. Botts is really into cars, and he was the first one to really point out what we all eventually saw. But that being said, my recollection is opening statement. I said, you will see on video a client in the BP gas station having fun with his friends without a care in the world, nothing indicating that some homicide's about to take place. And then you will see a video from FedEx, and it's going to be grainy, but when it's all said and done, it will point to my client's innocence. I said something to that effect.
Okay.
But I didn't. I mean, Meghann, sometimes, and the public might not completely understand that, and that was potentially part of my frustration, is sometimes you hold things in your pocket until it's time. And so the video and the intricacies of the video and the details in the video were something that I was holding. We never had any discussions about that with the state, trying to get a resolution, like, look at the video. We held that to ourselves.
And that was a strategy because we weren't sure exactly what the expert witnesses and all that were going to say. Right. And so we had our defense, but he didn't portray it in the opening statement because that would have locked him in.
And also would have potentially, it would have potentially affected testimony of people later. But once the ME gave her honest testimony and talked about the effects of that gunshot wound and immediately losing any ability to consciously move your body, and such as moving your foot up and down, at that point I was like, okay, we got what we need. It's a full go. And so, but I was holding on, we were just kind of, holding on to that one in our back pocket, basically.
I see somebody saying I should email Shaq the link. I don't have his email, but if he drops it in the chat, I'll try to get him the link.
Do people really want Shaq? Is that? I mean, really?
I think he's kind of the, I think there are a lot of people who want to see him, but do you remember, I can't imagine you forgot about that, but I think it might still be my favorite moment in trial when Judge Glanville yelled at you, Attorney Botts, and you just kind of let it roll off your back. You didn't seem to mind.
It did roll off my back. He never bothered me and never has. And he knows that I've respected him as a judge, but that particular time he was really not doing right. He was out of order. I was trying to tell him something, and that had happened in the hall that was relevant to one of the rulings, and that was when he was getting into the rift with Brian also. And he said something like, I don't care for you anymore, or something like that. And I said, well, I don't care.
Yeah, that's fine.
You said that's fine.
I said that's fine. If you want to feel that way, but I've done what I had to do.
And one of our supporters made T-shirts for all of us, and I think he's got a T-shirt that said, like, that's fine or something.
Well, it says, I don't care for you anymore, or something like that. And I had on the back of it, that's fine. But also I took up for Max in front of him too, at the beginning of the trial when he falsely accused Mac and Shannon.
The one day the cameras weren't there, I almost got locked up, and people don't know about that. But Mr.
Was that mentioned was there a filing about that? I seem to remember reading about this.
It was in my motion. What was it? the motion for a mistrial with prejudice, where I laid out all my grievances. But I was accused of yelling at the judge in open court, and I didn't. And then apologies were demanded, and we went through this big thing about you're lying to the court, and I said no, you're asking me to lie to the court. And so we just went through this big thing, and Mr. Botts, without saying exactly what happened, Mr. Botts cleared it up eventually, and I was not locked up.
Yeah.
But I was right, and Max was right, and I had to do something and say something because I really at first was astounded that he was doing that to Max in front of everybody and accuse him of something that I know he didn't do and had nothing to do with. Shannon actually did it.
See that? Why would you say that?
Because I had to tell him that I've got to say this about Max and take up for him. So it may not go well, but I've got to do it. It's what's right.
And Shannon wanted to take responsibility for it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Let me just be clear. And I told Shannon, no, you're not going to take responsibility. And then so I was up there potentially going to get arrested. And finally, while I was up there, Mr. Botts and Shannon discussed it. And Shannon convinced Mr. Botts, or maybe Mr. Botts thought it was the right thing to do. He said what really happened.
Was that the start of a beautiful friendship between you and Judge Glanville? Is that what started it all? Would you say?
I like Judge Glanville. I don't know what happened in this case. I don't want to say anything bad about Judge Glanville. And I don't want to be petty. I felt like at some point I kind of became the dog that everyone kicks. And that's fine. I didn't mind that. In fact, in some ways, I think the jury picked up on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was cool, actually. I was like, that's fine. But
yeah,
it just started to affect things when I couldn't ask questions on cross-examination. And everything was vague, no matter how specific I asked something. And so I never really was like, I think Investigator Gaither, I never really got to ask questions. And that was a little bit frustrating.